Good evening. In the 90s and the early part of this decade, we had a very simple immigration issue with a very simple solution. All Liberians were eligible for TPS. So all you had to do was go down to immigration, fill out the form, and the only thing we had to concern ourselves with was the annual uncertainty. As time has evolved and we are here today, our situation has also evolved and gotten more complex. The Department of Homeland Security has determined that Liberia is safe enough, so there's no need to continue the extension of TPS. So this is how President Bush gave the extension to March 31st of this year. At the peak, we had about 10,000 people that were on TPS. Today, we have 3,500. That 6,500 that's no longer on TPS, it's not because something good happened to them. Many of them were dropped because they filled out the forms wrongly, missed the deadlines, sent the money to the wrong place, bureaucracy cut them off. There are others that thought, instead of going through this annual uncertainty, I have a good case for political asylum, so I'm going to file for political asylum. Then we had 9/11 happen, and the processing just came to a complete crawl. Any of you here, if you've had to deal with immigration processing, you're aware of what I'm talking about. So when the time finally came for them to have the hearing, the situation in Liberia had changed, and so therefore the basis for the asylum claim was no longer valid, and so they were denied. And they didn't understand that they could be in the asylum pipeline as well as maintaining TPS. Every time there's a TPS extension granted, it's granted to the people who were on it prior, or except there is a redesignation. So this is how the number has dwindled to 6,500. So it's not just about getting TPS extended, it's about inclusion for all of these people. The bills that are before the Congress today actually only deal with those who were on TPS, who are on DED, but it leaves out that other group of 6,500 that fell off. And then it leaves out those who came after 2003. So it's gotten more complex, and what we've done to try to remedy this situation was first to understand that we as Liberians could probably not do this alone, and even if we could, it made sense that we should form alliances with other people, other organizations of humanitarian concern, of immigration concern, that would help us in making sure that we brought relief to our community. So we were a part of establishing a group called the Coalition for Permanent Residency, CPR. You're going to be hearing from some of the prominent leaders in that effort here tonight who helped us along the way. And our goals, we started out around the Liberian issue, but we also understand that we as pro-immigration activists have to also look at the bigger picture. And that bigger picture speaks to the comprehensive immigration reform effort, which we saw in 2006, but was not successful. We have a new political climate, and so we think we have the opportunities to pursue that. But there are also challenges because we have a different economic climate than was 2 years ago. So it's a huge effort, and we need all hands on deck. We need people to be involved, to be heard, and to help this process along, both in building the coalitions and also getting our voices heard. Our community here in Minnesota is being asked to play a leading role in this effort. as far as the fact that although we have enjoyed substantial success in Minnesota with our congressional delegations, Minnesota's delegation alone is not capable of making this a reality. We need support across the country. And one of the benefits of the Coalition for Permanent Residency is that all of the groups and individuals that have come aboard have networks with other organizations. The Jewish Community Jewish Community Action has brought on the National Council of Jewish Women, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, and a number of other groups. The Sisters of St. Joseph Carondelet, they brought the Catholic Network and a number of other groups. John Keller from the Immigrant Law Center brought on the Salvadoran community and a lot of other communities. And Michelle Garnett-McKenzie from the Advocates for Human Rights has also been instrumental in bringing other groups such as Amnesty International. So we're building a coalition that we intend to continue to expand. And the next step is to plug this coalition into Liberian communities around the country, because as we go to speak to congressional delegations, they want to hear from Liberians. You don't want to go speak on behalf of people who are not in the room, because it sends a signal, maybe this, how do I know that these people really need this? So the next step is to make sure all the Liberian communities around the country are plugged into the network. All of these organizations have branches and chapters across the country. Some are in all 50 states, some are in a number of other states. And so it's important that we provide that leadership by showing them the ropes of how we've done it here in Minnesota, and having them partner with these various organizations to go and lobby as a group. And therefore we'll have more weight and a greater chance of success. And this is a part of why we're here tonight. Besides raising awareness, we plan within the next 30 days to engage a number of communities, perhaps up to 20, 25 different states, to make sure that they are on board, that they're up and running, and they're plugged into the coalition. And it's going to take money to do that. This weekend coming, January 31st, I've been invited to speak at the inaugural of the Liberian Community Association in Sacramento to speak on this very issue. California has 54 members in Congress, 2 senators and 52 representatives. So if we can gain success in California, I think it takes us a very long way. We're going to have a leadership meeting as well, including leaders from the Liberian community in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Oakland, and perhaps some other smaller communities. It's important for us to do that. Our plan is for the chairman of Immigration Committee, Washington Yellen, to visit Oklahoma, where there's a group called Colossus, similar to ULA, but they're not part of ULA. They have a federation that covers about 6 or 7 states, and their leader lives in Oklahoma, to meet with them. And we need to do this in many communities. I also want to thank Kerper for making himself available to travel. We need people who are up to speed on this issue to help us bring these other communities up to speed. So we really need your support in terms of being vocal and in terms of financially supporting this effort for us to succeed, because the option of not succeeding means that maybe the person sitting next to you is going to be calling you from Liberia and saying, I need money. Maybe they're going to be asking you, please take care of a little John because I have to go. So we have to do all within our power to make sure that we can be effective in this effort, and it's going to take all of you. And we think we've made significant strides, but we think the road ahead of us is still long, and it's an uphill climb, but we have the faith, we have the courage, and we have the perseverance, and we are going to persevere until we succeed. I want to take this time to thank all of those who have been a part of this, especially building this coalition, And I also want to take this time to recognize some very important partners for this Liberian community helping us along the way. Bill Lugoff of Lugoff Law, been serving this community for over 25 years, and is always ready to answer our call. We have Dr. Asphalt Kent, who's always ready to answer our call. And we have our own Liberian lawyer, Raymond Guanigal, who has been providing free legal services to Liberians twice a month. No questions asked, no money asked, wherever the issue. You know, he's sharp in immigration law, but he knows other areas of the law, and people who have gone to him have told me they really appreciated the help that he was able to give them. And we have another group of lawyers who are forming relationships with us to engage our community. I wanted to also introduce them, the Curtis, Epi, and L law firm, and they also specialize in immigration, personal injury, and I've had the honor of working with a Liberian who has brought some very special talents to the order. He brought courageous leadership, and I want to honor him here in this gathering today. I'm speaking of our Vice President, Andrew Tippin. Andrew is taking a job with the Ministry of Gender to be the Senior Policy Coordinator. Andrew has a master's in public policy, and so we trust that he's going to be very, very useful in advancing women's issues. And this is the challenge that we are dealing with here on this immigration question. Some of us want to go home. Some of us want to go to Liberia. But our point is that it should be orderly, it should be voluntary, and not disruptive. Andrew's return to Liberia is very orderly, very planned, very organized, and very commendable. And if Liberians want to do that, they should be free to do that, but not be forced to disrupt their lives, disrupt their communities, disrupt their businesses, leave their homes, leave their equity behind, and go to a country with 85% unemployment that cannot accommodate their children in school. So at this time, Andrew, if you could join me up here, please. On behalf of the Liberian community in the Orland, I want to present you with this plaque. It reads, Andrew G. Tebben, in recognition of invaluable services and outstanding leadership as Vice President of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota. Andrew, thank you for your service. We wish you good luck. So with that said, I'm encouraged by your showing up here tonight. It shows us that you are ready to join this effort. We hope that your participation continues beyond tonight. Tonight is a very important step in the rest of the way in this journey, and we look forward to getting some words of support, encouragement, knowledge, and instruction from some very resourceful people who have been working with us to help this process along, and I want to thank you very much for coming.